The Merton Mysteries, a Learn English radio series from the British Council. Something She Ate, Episode 5.
Hello, my name's Amanda Carlton.
And I'm David Evans. And in this series, we aim to improve your English language skills with the help of a series of crime mysteries.
PC Gweno has been investigating the case of an estate agent called Anna Jenkins, who became seriously ill while she was having dinner in a restaurant in Merton.
Inspector Tate thinks she fell ill because of something she ate. But PC Gweno thinks there might be another reason. In particular, she's interested in Anna Jenkins' new business partner, a woman called Rita Wardle.
In the last programme, Tate and Gweno found the bag that Anna Jenkins had left in the restaurant. And when they looked inside, they found an old photograph. Here's what happened.
Look at this.
It's just a cutting from a newspaper. A rather old newspaper by the look of it.
Yes, a photograph of two people. Well, well, well.
Do you know them?
Yes, of course I do. It must have been taken a few years ago, but this is Rita Wardle. And next to her, that's Anna Jenkins' Uncle Elliot. They look about 10 years younger, but it's definitely them.
Rita Wardle is looking rather pleased with herself.
And Elliot Jenkins is looking absolutely furious.
Yes. And it looks to me as if they're standing outside Merton Courthouse.
The Merton Courthouse? Oh, yes, you're right. So what are they doing there?
Well, why would anyone have their picture taken outside the Merton Courthouse?
Because they've just been to court, I suppose. So why were these two in court, I wonder? And why did Anna Jenkins have this photograph in her handbag last night?
Oh, Gweno, forget about it. As I've told you, we have more important things to do.
So they found an old photograph of Rita Wardle and Anna Jenkins' uncle, Elliot Jenkins, outside the Merton Courthouse.
A courthouse is a building that contains law courts, a place where criminal trials and legal hearings are held. So what were they doing there? Is there a connection to the events in the restaurant the other evening?
In our first scene today, PC Gweno goes to talk to Elliot Jenkins. He sounds like he's in a bad mood and says to her,
So, have you come to tell me you've arrested him?
He's talking about Mr. Gordini, the owner of the restaurant in which Anna fell ill. PC Gweno says she hasn't arrested him, and Elliot replies,
Well, why on earth not? Don't tell me he's still serving his terrible food to the good people of Merton.
And my first question for you today is, according to PC Gweno, how many people have complained about the food in the restaurant that night? She then shows Elliot Jenkins the newspaper cutting and says,
Do you remember anything about it? If it was in the newspaper, it must have been important.
So does he have any useful information for PC Gweno? Let's find out.
Right.
Mr. Jenkins? Mr. Jenkins?
Yes? Oh, it's you again.
Good morning, Mr. Jenkins.
So, have you come to tell me you've arrested him?
I'm sorry.
The owner of that restaurant. Is he under arrest?
Oh, of course he isn't.
Well, why on earth not? Don't tell me he's still serving his terrible food to the good people of Merton.
Mr. Jenkins, the only person who has complained about the food that night is you. We have absolutely no reason to arrest Mr. Gordini.
Honestly, what do I pay my taxes for?
Now, I want to ask you a few questions.
Well, you'll have to walk with me to my car. I'm on my way to see an important client.
All right.
So, what is this about?
Well, we found your niece's handbag.
No, you have done something then.
And inside there was an old newspaper cutting. It was a photograph, actually. Let me show you.
Look, I really don't have time for this.
Here it is. That's you, I believe, Mr. Jenkins. And I think the lady with you is Mrs. Wardle.
Oh, really?
Obviously, it was taken a few years ago, but do you remember anything about it? If it was in the newspaper, it must have been important.
That is ancient history.
You see, it looks to me as if you are standing outside the Merton courthouse.
Have you really got nothing better to do than ask me about something that happened over 10 years ago?
Mr. Jenkins, I am trying to find out what happened to your niece, and I would be grateful if you would cooperate.
I'm sorry, I have nothing to say to you. Now, I have to get to my meeting. You want to study ancient history? Take my advice. Go to a museum.
So, how many people have complained about the food in the restaurant the other night? PC Gweno says,
The only person who has complained about the food that night is you.
And does Elliot Jenkins have any useful information for PC Gweno? No. When she shows him the newspaper cutting, he says,
That is ancient history.
In other words, this is something that happened a long, long time ago. And when she continues to ask him about it, he says,
Have you really got nothing better to do than ask me about something that happened over 10 years ago?
And then he says,
I'm sorry. I have nothing to say to you.
So what do you think? Is Elliot Jenkins' behaviour suspicious? Or is he just in a bad mood this morning? You're listening to the Merton Mysteries, a Learn English radio series from the British Council. And don't forget, you can find more resources at our website at learnenglish.britishcouncil.org. In our next scene, PC Gweno goes to talk to her friend Hal, who's in his usual place in the corner of a Merton cafe. Earlier in the story, she asked him to see if he could find anything about Anna and her colleagues online. And so at the start of the scene, Hal says,
Well, I have found out a few things that might interest you.
PC Gweno asks him,
Anything about a court case, perhaps? A court case about 10 years ago involving Rita Wardle and Elliot Jenkins.
Hal remembers something about it and quickly looks it up on his computer. He says,
I can't tell you all the details, but I do know that Elliot lost and he had to pay a large sum of money to Rita Wardle.
And my next question is, what happened just after that? PC Gweno then says,
I don't suppose he was happy about that.
And Hal replies,
And he's probably even more unhappy now.
So, according to Hal, why is Elliot Jenkins even more unhappy now? Here's the first part of the scene.
Well, I have found out a few things that might interest you.
Anything about a court case, perhaps? A court case about 10 years ago? Involving Rita Wardle and Elliot Jenkins?
Anna Jenkins' uncle? Yes, I did see something about that. It was a bit complicated, I think. Let me check. Yes, here it is. I can't tell you all the details, but I do know that Elliot lost and he had to pay a large sum of money to Rita Wardle. It doesn't say how much.
Interesting.
And just after that, of course, he resigned as the boss of his company, and that's when his niece, Anna Jenkins, took over.
Really? Well, I don't suppose he was happy about that.
No. And he's probably even more unhappy now that he's got both Anna and Rita Wardle above him. I mean, in 10 years, he's gone from number 1 to number 3 in his own company.
Yes, and it's obvious he doesn't like Rita Wardle at all.
Well, if you're looking for a reason why someone would want to murder Anna Jenkins, I think this could be it.
So what happened just after the court case? Hal says,
Just after that, of course, he resigned as the boss of his company, and that's when his niece, Anna Jenkins, took over.
PC Gweno says she is sure he wasn't happy about that. And Hal replies that he's probably even more unhappy now. And why does he think that? He says,
He's got both Anna and Rita Wardle above him. In 10 years, he's gone from number 1 to number 3 in his own company.
And he concludes,
If you're looking for a reason why someone would want to murder Anna Jenkins, I think this could be it. You're listening to the Merton Mysteries, a Learn English radio programme from the British Council.
When the scene continues, PC Gweno asks,
So are you saying that Elliot Jenkins tried to murder his own niece?
and Hal replies,
Well, think about it. It's possible.
but PC Gweno doesn't think he's right. So what 2 reasons does she give for why she disagrees with him? Hal then says,
Oh, and there is something else I found out.
so what else has he discovered? Here's the scene.
So, are you saying that Elliot Jenkins tried to murder his own niece?
Well, think about it. It's possible.
But why would he want to murder her? Surely Rita Wardle is the one he hates.
Yeah,
And anyway, they're the same family.
I know. But these things happen. Oh, and there is something else I found out.
Yes?
You see, Anna Jenkins isn't married. She has no children, no brothers or sisters. Her parents are both dead. So if she dies, my guess is that her Uncle Elliot would get all her money.
Yes, and I'm sure she's got lots of it. Well, it's an interesting idea, Hal, I'll say that. Yes, I'll see what the inspector thinks about this.
So why doesn't PC Gweno think that Elliot Jenkins tried to murder his niece? First, she says,
Why would he want to murder her? Surely Rita Wardle is the one he hates.
and then she adds,
And anyway, they're the same family.
and what else has Hal found out? He tells PC Gweno,
Anna Jenkins isn't married. She has no children, no brothers or sisters. Her parents are both dead.
he goes on,
So if she dies, my guess is that her Uncle Elliot would get all her money.
PC Gweno replies,
It's an interesting idea, Hal. I'll say that. I'll see what the inspector thinks about this.
so what will Inspector Tate think of this idea? To find out, join us again for the next episode of our story, Something She Ate. Now here's a chance to hear a part of today's drama again.
Right.
Mr. Jenkins? Mr. Jenkins?
Yes? Oh, it's you again.
Good morning, Mr. Jenkins.
So, have you come to tell me you've arrested him?
I'm sorry.
The owner of that restaurant. Is he under arrest?
Oh, of course he isn't.
Well, why on earth not? Don't tell me he's still serving his terrible food to the good people of Merton.
Mr. Jenkins, the only person who has complained about the food that night is you. We have absolutely no reason to arrest Mr. Gordini.
Honestly, what do I pay my taxes for?
Now, I want to ask you a few questions.
Well, you'll have to walk with me to my car. I'm on my way to see an important client.
All right.
So, what is this about?
Well, we found your niece's handbag.
But that's all for today. You've been listening to The Merton Mysteries, a British Council Learn English radio series. And remember, you can find more resources at the British Council Learn English website at learnenglish.britishcouncil.org. Until next time, from Amanda Carlton and me, David Evans.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.